Andi gets Mrs. Maurice's case, but with a caveat. Daniella meets Tony's kids, but doesn't leave her negative energy at home. And Sabrina is finally stepping up and stepping out and speaking up for herself. But will there be some backlash? What's good, y'all? It's your good sis Erica Vane coming to you right here on Erica Vane TV with another Sistas video. And in this one, I am breaking down season 7, episode number 10. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on your bell notification so you don't miss out on any of my Sistas content and conversations. I'm back to dropping new Sistas videos every single day, answering tons of questions that you all have, but also fostering the dope ass discussions that we love to do right here on the channel. Okay, so I fear my review, my breakdown is going to kind of like be all over the place because I feel like the episode was all over the place. And shout out to y'all who watch our Sistas Keeper, which is my live after show and podcast every Wednesday after the new Sistas episode. Some of y'all were posting in the comment section whether you were there live or you watched it on replay, and I'll link it in the description box so that you can go ahead and check it out if you haven't seen it already. But some of y'all were talking about how maybe they're struggling with balancing so many character storylines. Y'all were just throwing out really great ideas in reference to why the episode felt so damn inconsistent, incoherent, and just chaotic. Honestly, I love the comment about them trying to balance so many storylines because Maggie Bush wrote this episode, and her first episode within the writers room for Sistas was episode 6, I believe, and it's still one of my favorite episodes. So she quickly became one of my favorite writers, and I want to believe that she still has episode 6 in her, but in trying to balance so many storylines and work with what has already been laid out, it just seemed like it's a little bit difficult. Now, this episode was not terrible. However, because it felt incoherent, because there was a lot of mismanaging of the time visually, because there was so much going on and it's still feeling like not enough in specific storylines, it really kind of took me out as an audience member and really just had me struggling with the overall episode. So for this review, to try to make it a little cohesive, to try to clean it up a bit, I'm probably going to go through character by character and just talk about what went on and what I'm anticipating moving forward just based off of what these characters did in this episode. We'll try to put timestamps in the description box down below, similar to how I did with my Mea Culpa breakdown. And if you haven't seen that already, go and check it out. Your good sis did a scene by scene breakdown for Tyler Perry's new film Mea Culpa. I do believe that most of the internet is lying. It was not a bad film, but I literally give you reasons why, as well as, again, a scene by scene breakdown. That will also be linked in the description box, okay? Let's start with Daniella, because y'all know by now, if you're not new here, that she is by far not my favorite character. And in this episode, we get to see her twice. We get to see her meeting Tony's kids at Rich's Juice Bar, as well as meeting up with the girls a little bit later. And shout out to the person who commented this on the live last night. They were like, why are the sisters interactions so short? Their scenes seem so short. And I agree. It feels like it was very much so rushed. A lot of their interactions lately have been rushed. And I guess that could denote like them, you know, on separate paths or like growing apart and all of that jazz. But I still feel like they could have done it better in reference to how it actually manifests on screen. It does feel a bit jarring. And then in this episode, we did get to see the intercuts with the guys. So that took away even more screen time from the girls being all together. But I digress. Going back to Daniella at this juice bar, I know some of y'all are already saying that those kids are bad, those kids are messy, those kids are raggedy, but at the end of the day, they're kids. And I will never put the onus on the children in the circumstance to be the most mature ones, to be the ones to make the adults feel comfortable. I feel like that's the adult's job. Like the adult is the one who maintains the place in the status of maturity, supposedly. So why are we even placating to kids who are trying to be manipulative or are trying to get over? At the end of the day, they just got here. You've been on this earth for how long? And they're doing whatever they can or what they think about in the moment. They don't really understand consequences. They don't really understand the gravitas that comes with certain life choices. So I honestly don't fault the kids for anything. Brianna scammed Daniella out of her necklace. She actually didn't. Daniella didn't have to give that necklace, but she just wanted her to drink the smoothie and play nice. Like, girl, you don't like these kids, and it's okay if these kids don't like you. Part of it, I feel like they sense that you don't like them, and you have not liked them from the beginning. You wrote them off before you even met them. You basically are resenting them for how they actually had the initial interaction with you, but nobody told you to call off of work and then come up in there and try to bust it wide open in your man's office as if he has nobody else to contend with or nobody else coming into his office except for Daniella in a yellow trench coat. Like, girl, you embarrassed yourself. And I can't respect Daniella and I can't get on board with her until she starts keeping it real and being honest about that. It's 100% fine for you to be embarrassed by the circumstances that the kids met you the first time, but to resent them for it, it's stupid. It is immature. It's very childish. It's giving you are the child in the situation, so I can't respect it. I don't care that these kids are like trying to play you and like, oh, you want to be my friend and you gotta buy me stuff. That's what kids do. You have to be the grown-up in the situation and figure out how to best navigate and set a good example, and Daniella is never going to do that. I also am not even bought into why you're doing it. It feels like you're just doing stuff just to do it, and this is something that I struggle with the Daniella character, period. And I don't think this is anything wrong with the writing, because I think that this is very true to this type of person, this type of woman. However, this type of woman I actually struggle with because I don't personally understand meaningless lives. I don't understand the process or the life that is like going through it, just kind of living and existing and not seeking anything. I don't think that it's not a thing that happens. Like I think that that's something that a lot of people, not even just women, but people experience, but I personally don't understand it because I've always pretty much been a very driven character. Even when I've had episodes of very deep depression, I've always still had like a goal in mind. So I might be going through a season of down and not actively taking action towards my goals, but I've always had some. Daniella I struggle with because she's so nasty, she's so rude, and she also seemingly wants nothing out of life except for good sex and some weed and alcohol. Those three things. And girl, you don't have to be in a committed relationship to get those three things. You do not have to deal with and or tolerate this man's children to get those three things. You can have a buddy, a good weed connect, and a good job to buy your alcohol, and there you go. If that's all that your life is going to surmise to, if that's all that you actually going to want out of it, then like stop bothering everybody, including your therapist Carisha, with the bullshit, and just do that. Focus on that. I literally cannot take Daniella seriously because she has this big ass issue with these children, or at least she's projecting her issues and her negativity into the situation about Tony taking care of his kids and being a good dad when they are literally not the problem. She is. And until she can register that, until she can really register that and not just trivially go into the office, the therapy office, and say, oh, my life is a wreck. Why is it a wreck? It is a wreck because you are a damn bulldozer and you are hitting yourself. Every single thing that you begin to build, you knock down before it can actually stand tall and be something. That includes your relationship. That includes your self-esteem. That includes your work. It literally includes everything. You are self-destructive, and I'm over it. I'm really over it. It'll be a different story if she was a nice person and a self-destructor. Then I could like empathize and be like, okay, girl, like how are we going to coach you and get you to understand? But you're nasty while destroying your own life. There's no hope for you. Goodbye. And in the time that we get to see them or her with the girls, she doesn't really do much of nothing. She just co-signs Andi giving good head because everything is sexual again and or about alcohol and weed with her. And yeah, continue being a one-trick pony, Daniella. Hate that for you, but you know, it's not about me. All right, Andi looked cute as hell. I don't know how appropriate this outfit is. It was giving much more fashion show than actual partner at this law firm. But okay, she actually gets Marie's business. She is going to be Marie's counsel. However, Marie seemingly does not trust her to do it by herself, so she's going to have to also retain co-counsel. And for me, it's seeming like it's going to be Hayden, even though Marie was giving some kind of stank energy to Hayden when she left the office. I didn't fully understand that, but in the preview, we get to see Andi talking to Fatima, talking about, oh, Hayden weaseled his way into my case. So I think that that's basically where we're going. We also get to start the episode off with this very random scene where it's on the news with the newscaster is announcing that Jordan has been cleared, but they also tie in that he's staying at Andi's house. And I'm like, that would never happen. Like, that is not front page news. The councilman, the person who is a potential councilman, this is not a president. This is not a vice president. It's not even a damn mayor and or governor. But okay, the councilman is staying at this high rise of this lawyer, and y'all want to put that on the news just so that you can frame out the fact that the girl lied. The best part about that whole scene was the mini dialogue that happened, or the small part of the dialogue that happened, where Jordan was like, it sucks that she could just say that and people just believe it. And Andi replies, well, it's fair to believe women, but it also sucks for you as a black man. I thought that was just such a poignant thing. I kind of wish we would have hovered there a little bit, but I love that piece of dialogue between them. It was the most meaningful thing that these characters said throughout this whole episode. But I digress. Andi, we get to see when the girls get together, she's gushing over Jordan and how Jordan revealed that he loves her, but she didn't return the words of affirmation and love back, but she really does feel it. So she's going to probably, as she goes over to his house by the end of the episode, she's going to tell him then. And okay, cool, we love this for you, girl. Jordan is, like I said, they intercut the guys getting together scene with the girls getting together, and Jordan is like, y'all need to get it together because my lady complaining about y'all is not going to be the move. So clearly Jordan is all bought in. He's doing all of the right things and they're going to be a thing. I am still not feeling it. However, I am feeling Andi being in a healthy relationship. And I really, really enjoyed Jordan checking her for not actually asking him about the circumstances before jumping to conclusion, not taking his word, and not giving him space within the relationship to clear this up before she started to write him off. And then her being forced to admit that she has never been in a healthy situation, a healthy relationship. So she didn't really know how to move, and it's a learning experience for her. I do really appreciate moments like that. So though I don't really buy into their like sexual chemistry that's constantly being paraded on screen, I do appreciate the fact that they're supposed to represent a healthy relationship, and Andi has been in desperate need of one post Gary. Now, speaking of Gary, he is running around doing all types of goofiness. His storyline in this episode ties to Zach because Zach circles back and we get to understand why Zach actually called him a few episodes ago when he first heard about the law firm being raided by the FBI. He was calling Gary because he wants his money back. Gary is avoiding Zach, so Zach winds up going down to his office in this episode and confronting Gary about it. We don't know the exact amount, y'all, but I'm going to say somewhere between $100,000 and $150,000 because this is the amount of money that Jake actually told Zach to let him have to like go ahead and flip for him. And I believe that he didn't outright give it to Gary. He gave it to Jake because Jake, if I recall the scene correctly, said that he would not have to actually deal with Gary. But yes, Jake at the time worked for Gary, so he would be, you know, doing things, commingling funds within their hedge group. But Zach's point of contact would be Jake. But now we know that Jake isn't there anymore. This is where I think that Tyler really did a horrible job of like fumbling the trade-off between Jake and Bryce, because for all intents and purposes, he should be calling Bryce to get his money back because Bryce took Jake's place. But whatever, we're here now. This culminates in Zach actually punching Gary in his office, Gary pulling out his gun, daring Zach to kill him since he want to kill him so bad, and Zach putting his goofy ass fingers, his fingerprints specifically, on this gun that he don't know where Gary got it from. He don't know if Gary has killed somebody prior to with this gun. And I feel like this is the dumbest that Zach could have done, but Zach does so many dumb things. And when I tell y'all I don't want to hear it anymore, the amount of comments I get every day talking about Zach needs a break and I wish Tyler would give Zach a break and Erica gives Zach a break, like relax, like Zach chooses struggle at every point. He chooses to make the most stupid decision that he could possibly make. He jumps his ass into goofy situations that he can barely get out of, and unfortunately, because Fatima has hitched herself to the goddamn Zach wagon, she gets dragged into the bush as well. So good luck, Fatima, trying to make bail when he catches a murder charge behind whatever person Gary killed with this damn gun. And when the FBI come in there to get Gary's ass and they find that gun and they find Zach's fingerprints on it, he's going to be looped into some shit that he had nothing to do with, all because he could not get out of his goddamn ego and not put his hands on this gun. Like, let's be for real. And then you take your ass home to talk to Fatima about it and you say that you did absolutely nothing. When Fatima said, "What did you do?" "I didn't do nothing." You always do something. Yes, Gary owes you money. Yes, your money might be gone, but like, you gotta be for real. For Zach to be this so quote unquote stand-up guy that he wants to be positioning himself to be, you're not actually a leader. You don't make leader decisions. You don't even think before you do the dumb shit that you do. And this is all like additional affirmation for why I feel like Fatima needs to break up with his ass. He is not ready to be in a serious relationship. He's not ready to be a husband. He's not ready to be a leader. He's barely ready to be a damn father, because Fatima got to tell you that I am going to law school after I get off of work, working my full-time job. You talking about, oh, you need to be here with my son because I'm going to go hang out with, no, you're going to hang out with your damn son. Emphasis on your son. This is a conversation that we should not even be having, because if you're a man that's about his business, if you're a man who truly wants to change, if you are a man who wants to be regarded in a certain light, then you will match your actions to that. I have been saying this and I've basically been screaming it from the rooftops. Zach's actions don't back up his words, so his words mean absolutely nothing to me. And I don't want to hear y'all in the comment section, in my DM or my email, advocating for Zach's goofy ass because he's goofy. And until his actions start to back up the shit that he says, his words mean nothing. I'm paying Zach's ass dust. And I hope you get to think about your goofy ass actions for a little bit while you sitting in jail behind this gun, because that was absolutely stupid. I am not convinced that Zach is the gangster that he pretends to be. Yes, you might have went to jail, but good guys go to jail too. And little scaredy cats go to jail too every now and again because they get caught up. You're not giving gangster, because a gangster would not put their fingerprints on some unknown random ass gun. It is always to be assumed that there's a body on a gun. I don't care if it's a police officer's gun. I'm assuming it's a body on that. And you ain't gonna get my fingerprint to take the damn bullets out. And I took the one out the chamber too. Thanks for telling me. Boy, y'all, the more we go on, the more of a disappointment Zach becomes. And it's such a conflict for me in watching, because while I'm like rooting for Zach to get to experience fatherhood within the twin storyline and him, you know, being able to go through certain things first time and like take the baby steps of like preparing to be a father, even though Michael has kind of ushered him into this, I also am just so annoyed with the fact that he has gotten break after break after break. You were given $2 million because the writer loved you so much and you would just bestow. You basically hit the damn lottery. You have not done no work since. Every time we seen you in Fatima go into your office, you were playing solitaire and mad at Bryce on a damn computer. You have made no additional real estate deals. You only actually had an office because of Bryce. You were only actually in legal business because of Bryce. And clearly you're not bringing in any additional money because money is becoming a stressor for you. You're feeling like you're going to be struggling to pay for Michael's behavioral therapist, his therapy behind the trauma, behind all that he's going through. And he's also a special needs kid. Then you also have these twins on the way. You also lumped in, oh, what I got to pay for your law school. Like all of these things are coming out of the woodwork for you. And financially, you're feeling like you're going to be strapped. But that's what happens when you're not actually generating any additional money. It was all fine and dandy and real cute when you was running your ass down to the law firm every day in your little suit, looking like a boss, but not actually doing nothing. Now, when you see that there's actually no money coming in, are you going to go get a job? Are you going to do what the leader of the household is actually supposed to do and actually start to generate some damn money? Or are you going to consistently try to coast on your good looks and your quick wit? Won't you go ahead to jail and think about it? Now, this review is getting so long, y'all, and I really didn't mean to make it this long, but there's so many thoughts that I had for this chaotic ass episode. Penelope, I'm gonna go ahead and lump you up in here too, because you also decided to confront Gary in this episode, and this is a great example, or at least her scenes are a great example of how they mismanaged time, because they had her come in right as Zach was getting ready to leave, which is early on in the day, but then we don't actually get that conversation until at night, and it's like, did she just sit here and stare at him after she said, you're gonna talk to me for 6 hours all the way until the night, just for him to not answer any of the questions that she's asking that she don't need the actual answers to, because girl, what's it to you? And two, you antagonize this man, not trying to victim blame, but girl, again, you don't need the answers to these goddamn questions, only for you to not actually make it up out of this damn office because Gary decides to push you over, make you miscarry your damn baby and potentially lose your life, because who knows, I haven't watched the trailer yet, but all of that just so that you could find out if he killed Keisha back 20 years ago. Did Andi put you up to this? This is more stupid than Zach putting his hands on a goddamn gun. Why are you here, Penelope? And then why are you here with a battery in your back and arrogance in your heart? You are a 10-month pregnant woman. Passive. Simple. That's how your actions is. Sorry, girl. You giving a simple hoe. And you here to confront him about a 15-year-old from 20 years ago? Child, go with God. In this episode, Sabrina actually sticks up for herself when she has a meeting with Miss India. Miss India calls this meeting because somebody has voiced a concern about your leadership. Ma'am, give this lady back her damn job. Shut that little white girl up and get off of our nerves, because the fact that you made Sabrina curse at you literally brought that upon yourself. And I really had to rewatch because I kind of tuned out, because everything that Sabrina's asking for, she's actually owed. And I don't really give a damn to watch them go back and forth or her need to actually prove it. But I do appreciate her saying, you know what, this is bullshit. Because it is. You want to have her jump through hoops because the little white girl is intimidated. What white girl in corporate America is not intimidated by a bomb ass, fly ass black girl getting her business done? I'll wait. Miss India, be for real. Get your senses together. Give this girl a managerial position so that she could go back to focusing on freezing her egg and getting her baby in the future, and leave Miss Sabrina alone. Maybe that'll also help her, because I feel like there's dissension coming, and her and Karen are going to get into it real soon, and I hate that for them because I love their friendship, but I definitely feel like it's coming. Between her talking about Karen to Maurice in last episode and her fronting up her face when Karen decides to order Uber Eats on her damn card at her house because she ain't had no food for them when they got there, I'm like, oh, okay, I see the seeds. I see y'all planting them. I hate this for us, but it also happens in friendship. If anything, I feel like a tension or some type of conflict coming up between Sabrina and Karen could be worked out because they are real friends. Out of all the girls, I feel like they are actually real friends, but we'll see how these writers actually handle it. Real quickly to talk about Maurice. Maurice gets his ass left because he lied about stopping his fixation page when he gets approached by a super fan that was on his live the previous night talking about the throat goat was working at Pickle. Like, listen here, Maurice. The problem is you told Grayson that you would stop. You made it seem like it would be no big deal and you didn't, so you lied. But I will say this, Grayson, if you are not footing the bill, if you are not going to make Maurice a kept man, you also do not have the right to be requiring him to do certain things with his life that is pertaining to his financial future and his financial freedom. On top of that, you're having a conversation now about you don't get serious because it has to be the right person. So if you're not even serious about me, but you want me to quit what's my most gainful employment, it actually makes no goddamn sense. Y'all, it reminds me of a friend who We are not romantically tied at all, but like I went through a phase where, not a phase, it was a season where people were bashing me like crazy, and I was complaining about it to all of my friends, and one of the friends was like, okay, well just quit YouTube. And I'm like, what do you mean quit YouTube? I can't quit YouTube. Like, I'm a full-time, like this is full-time, like this is making a good amount of money. Why would I do that? It's not that simple. So again, it's not romantic, but like for me, Grayson pitching that and like not having a plan or not having a way to support Maurice easing out of it just feels very unrelatable, unsustainable, and unrealistic. And I just gave y'all that example because that's what I kind of related to when I heard it. But also, Maurice, you should have said that. Like, you need to be able to communicate. If you want to be in a healthy relationship, which I get that you've never been in before, it's giving you are basically Andi. But if you want to be in a healthy relationship, you have to communicate. Grayson, I appreciate that you're uncomfortable with the fixation page. I do ultimately want to get back to the bank, but I'm not going to be able to stop it immediately. Like, I am going to phase it out as we progress. The more serious we get, maybe I can really dial back, but I need to also make sure that I'm financially secure in the future. And are you willing to help me financially if I do back all the way out of this and I come upon a hard time until I can actually get another job? Like, that's a conversation that couples would have. So y'all need to have it. And again, I feel like they mismanaged time and they didn't give enough time to certain things because they gave us the whole Grayson got flowers and excited to see Maurice and they have this conversation. Then after that fan shows up, we come back from a commercial break and Grayson is automatically gone. Like, why didn't we get to see Grayson storm out? Why didn't we get to see Grayson issue another ultimatum? Maurice is just sitting here looking sad, then sending over a sexy picture to his damn mama when he's supposed to send it to Grayson. I'm just like, I get what y'all trying to do. I get that Maurice is a supplemental character, but also give him a little bit more than that. Like, let's flesh this out a little bit because this is kind of interesting. And for the relationship part of it, in reference to like how relationships work, regardless of this being a queer relationship, this is a great conversation to have because communication is key. Now, aside from that, our good sis Karen, last but certainly not least, she has a moment with Trey, who comes into the salon super late and like, sir, let up off of her because you are not ready to ride this ride. You got to be a certain height to ride this ride. I know so many of y'all have seen it for Tenderoni Trey, but I have never seen it for him. And all of his scenes ever since his little lackluster, like, yo, I'm gonna need you to calm down when Zach tried to step to Karen at the salon about the DNA test, have just proven it, has just affirmed it for me. Like, he is giving young buck, he is giving not mature enough. And like, you can have all the well intentions in the world, you can be sexually and physically attracted to her, cool, but it's just not gonna work. Like, there's a certain essence that men have to have, especially when you are matching up with a potential mate. And because Karen is so alpha, she needs a more alpha male. Like, she needs a man who's actually going to allow her to be in her feminine fully. And like, I think that Trey can get there, but he not there yet, and she needs somebody that's already there. But the little scene was cute. She's about to mace the hell out of him. And then other than that, we get to see her interact with Pam and like let Pam know, like, girl, you trying to run your little business up out of my business, but if you're not licensed, if you're not doing things 100% correct, then I'm gonna shut your ass down because I refuse to get shut down. I didn't work too hard and put too much money in this. There's way too much money on the line. I got twins coming. Ain't nobody playing these goofy ass games with you, Pam. And I love them having this real ass conversation. I know some people are gonna be like, oh, Karen's just so mean because she gave it to her real rap raw. This is her livelihood. She has 2 young babies to be thinking about providing for in addition to herself, and she's alone. So sometimes you gotta tell it how it is. And it spurred Pam to take her ass down to the law firm and go and get things lined up legitimately. Now that makes for us to have a nice little classist and egregious interaction between Andi and Pam. And I actually hate every time that Andi and Pam interact because Andi immediately jumps to her elitist and classist bag, and it makes me dislike Andi that much more for that particular moment. But I did enjoy it for what it was, the comedic relief as well as the story development, because we will be seeing Pam get more story time and more visual time on screen as she's been up to a series regular. Angie has been up to a series regular in season 8 of Tyler Perry Sistas. So yeah, I think that's the setup for this, y'all. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and get on out of here because I feel like I have been talking forever. I hope that y'all actually enjoyed this breakdown. And if you love the conversation, then make sure that you check out Our Sisters Keeper every Wednesday after the new episode of Tyler Perry Sistas as we go live. And I'm joined by the wonderful Allie Nick to talk about what went down in the most recent episode. Again, those things will be linked in the description box so that you can check it out and catch it on replay. There's tons of sister content right here on Erica Vane TV. I thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, I think now is a great time for you to subscribe. Give this video a like. It helps me out so very much, and YouTube thinks that this would be the perfect video for you to watch next because you're not done, right? You're not done.